A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Spring is the time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off your enrollment. The next 10-week challenge begins on April 12th. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, that's 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? Happy Monday. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School, brought to you the new school way. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients at Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andremat, and 168th and Maple up there in the O. A lot going on, obviously. Austin. NCAA first, the first weekend is always the best.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just the excitement. And sometimes it's not necessarily the best, but then spring football is going on all over the country. Nebraska just kicked it off today, and it's crazy. As much as the season and excitement of last year, then you have basketball, a little bit disappointed. Then you got NCAA tournament. I think it's going to take a few practices for people kind of to catch, the football fever. But it kind of goes. It's actually perfect timing for. It just popped in my mind for Nebraska to kind of be under the radar, because in my opinion, obviously around here you can't do anything, but I guess nationally it's March Madness, both men's and women's, and so you'll get through the first 2 weeks kind of, just keeping your head down and doing your work. So, there's a lot of new faces. Obviously, Munson talked about it, and a lot of expectations and or hopes, or whatever standards, they got to be reset.
As a coach and or player, how do you get guys to be 100%, as close to 100% as they can be this first practice? Not easing into it, not trying to tiptoe around. How do you get them to go in full speed on day one of spring ball?
It's a lot. I think. Well, obviously, it's a lot different than when I played. You didn't.
Sure.
We had some 7-on-7s and stuff like that, and I think it's just what I talked about, just the standard. How you just if you're running your sprints and doing your agility drills and all that stuff that like you're supposed to, and lifting weights as hard as you can, going out and playing football is just nature, just kind of how you operate. So I don't think that's I do think playing hard is something that you have to coach, demand, and teach, like which you didn't have to before, and you also have to evaluate it. But also think how everybody goes. If you really aren't putting forth all your effort, first of all, you stick out like a sore thumb. Ideally, you like to should. Yeah, and ideally, you'd like to have your peer pressure, good peer pressure, of telling you need to pick it up some. So I don't think that's a problem. I think the one thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, like, you can structure a practice and make it hard. You can run sprints. You can do crazy amount of plays. You can do all types of stuff.
9-on-7 for 3 hours.
Yeah, you can make it hard, and I can make you work hard. Now it's like, I guess practice or whatever, play hard. Now, what really the difference is what are you doing on the unrequired time to make your required time the best possible? That's where Nebraska is going to be able to make up some ground and hopefully take the next step. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, it's not, granted, I don't know if we're, the most talented team in the nation. Obviously that probably goes to like I don't know, I guess Ohio State's, Bama's and all them. But we definitely have enough talent to make some noise and all that. And so, with that being said, now it's going to be how many of those guys just welcome the unrequired time and truly be invested in those time. And it could be very minimal, not minimal, but it doesn't have to be an extra 20 hours a week, whether it's like, okay, look, if we all decide we're going to invest an extra 30 minutes of whatever we're doing, whether it's third down research or third down tape, pass rush, routes, one-on-ones, or just watching tape together, fellowship, breaking bread, whatever those things are, and you're truly there, then that's going to take you to the next level.
And it's got to be everyone, right? It can't just be here or there, right? Because I could see freshmen saying, "Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this extra time. I'll hold off till someone tells me what to do." I could see upperclassmen saying, "I've done that for 3 years or 4 years. I'm good." The leadership accountability has to come from everywhere, right? It can't be all top down. It can't be all bottom up. It can't all be middle out. It's got to be, like you said, operating individually. Right. Everyone says, let me do these extra 20 minutes for the good of thinking collectively.
Yeah. I mean, look, for every freshman class, you got leaders in there. You got like sub leaders or whatever you want to call it. And then you got leaders in the making in every class, every level. And then they all need to come together. I mean, the best leaders are followed by people that want to be led. That's just the way it goes. And the best coaches are, have a bunch of coaches that want to be coached by him and they want to coach, and you got players that want to be coached. I don't think there's a great coach out there that didn't have great assistant coaches or good players. And you don't become a good player by not wanting to or being embracing coaching.
That defensive side of the ball, Jay, one returning coach from last year, Rob Dvorak.
Yeah. Well, Butler.
True. Yeah. True. But he's not coaching the DBs specifically.
No, but I'm saying there's continuity, and he had that,
1.5 returning coaches.
So you had that month where you kind of can get it. But I think they also, well, then obviously when you lose, some big parts, I think that's just kind of part of the business. And so, I don't think there will be any continuity problems. I think that the defensive line coach, I think he's ready to really kind of make his mark and fits it. I think what they probably did was look at personality fits and what, Butler knowing guys in an NFL and going from there. So I think it's going to be pretty seamless. And, really, to be honest with you, it's actually really good because they all start at the same starting spot. You know who the coordinator is. You got Phil Snow and like in the kind of advisor, but then everybody's starting over, even though Dvorak probably knows I don't think they're going to switch the defense totally. So he might have a little bit of like a leg up, but I think everybody's learning this defense, whether it's adding stuff, subtracting stuff under Butler at the same rate, which is obviously, I think, a good thing because you can go through those growing pains together. Because sometimes if you have a staff that's been together and you're the new guy, they expect you to know it like the old guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or old guys. And so I think now they all can get on the same page and, give their input and take stuff and try to, figure it out from there, all while, really replacing some, some really good players.
That defense really intrigues me, Jay, especially when you think about the guys who have to step up into those leadership roles. Because on offense, we think we know who it should be. It should be number 15. Seems like Emmett Johnson is a guy that the staff likes and can step into that role. Dane Key is kind of a veteran wide receiver coming in. Even Spindler on the offensive line from Notre Dame. On defense, some of the names, right? A Buford, a Singleton, a Hartzog who's still there.
Yeah.
And then you got to see. There's a lot of youth. There's a lot of experience, production, and a lot of leadership that walked out that door. I think this spring is going to open some eyes for some players for their own leadership capabilities and even for the coaches. Now, who can we trust to take charge of this unit that needs to get cohesive?
Yeah, they got a lot of, in my opinion, and the two differences. And so this is where you should, hopefully, feel confident is like you go in the spring, I think you got a lot of options on defense, right? Now it's up to those players to become answers, right? On the flip side, you don't want to go into the spring with no options or there's only one option because if that option isn't the answer, well, then you're stuck in the mud. So I think it's a unique spring to where you got guys that have played some, been successful, like Van Poppel, Judy. You got Shavers. You got I think it's a added plus guy with Javen Wright getting another year. Hopefully he stays healthy. Then you're going to get get the true best version of him. Hopefully. So you got guys that have a ton of that have played. Now they have to individually and collectively take the next step to being the guy. All while bringing in some transfers, with McCullough and all them, where they're trying to get it. Yeah. The big defensive end from Missouri. Well, now they're trying to do the same thing. So now you got to really get out there and, like I said, you're thinking and playing individually, but you're playing individually, but you got to think collectively. And it's a hard thing to understand. Like, I want to be the guy, but I also got to make sure I'm only going to be the guy by doing what I need to do within the system. So. But that's how you earn the trust.
And that's something I think that is lost on a lot of people, regardless of your job, if you're playing sports or whatever it is. You don't become the guy by you're out of system plays. You become the guy by going through the system that then gives you the leeway to go out of system and supersede this, not go rogue or anything, but in doing your job, you make a spectacular play. You don't you don't turn making a spectacular play into your job.
Yeah, you make the basic plays look spectacular and the spectacular plays looking legendary, whatever the thing is. I just think look, once you know the system enough, you can take calculated risk, but that comes from continuity, and more importantly, it comes from communication with others. Now, like very easily, if you're supposed to have the C gap and you're like, well, I'm not going to make any plays. Well, that's being short-sighted because the two times that you hold the C gap or own the C gap is going to allow, J.R. Austin to make those plays. Well, when it's really important, you do that. Now you become wide open and you make the play. You're making the same play that you made 3 or 4 times ago, but this time is the one that's really needed. And that's the biggest difference. And it's hard. I've been there, I can go, back to memory of my first spring. It was an open spot, obviously, with Troy Dumas and Clint Brown going on, and Troy obviously going to the NFL, and it's up for grabs. And you're waiting to get your chance. You get your chance. You show yourself. Then you don't get much chance. Then you got to keep at it. Then you start to have a breakthrough. And you're all that. That's one section. But on the other section, you're trying to earn the trust and respect of your teammates and coaches, right? So they're also evaluating what you do when you're not in there with the ones. And how do you play, in this case, with the 2s or 3s? Or how do you deal with splitting times with the 1s or whatever? That's how you earn your trust. Or then are you being a factor on special teams? Even though you're not, say I messed up in 7-on-7, I still got to be a starter on special teams. And so that's where you really separate yourself, is consistently just being available, and then obviously, accountable, and then making plays consistently. And you're not going to do it by only thinking of yourself. And it's hard to say that because you're competing for the spot, but it's within the realm of the team, and it's a hard thing for young kids to grasp. We just talked about basketball. It's harder just as harder in football, where they've probably been, groomed or whatever, since, through social media, that it's all about you. And now you got to play one of the ultimate team sports. The two biggest team sports, in my opinion, is ultimately hockey and then football, because you got to play a role.
You're hitting on baseball, man.
I don't think that's much. It's a team sport, but not to the magnitude, because you got to give up yourself physically in these games. You know what I'm saying? Like, Austin, just imagine I say, all right, Austin, next break, you got to go out and fight that dude. Why? Well, just
because it's your job.
Right. Well, because you got to go fight him, so we get excited and Bach can go score the goal. That's sure. The sacrifice. Because, number one, you got to get your mind right to go fight that man. And he knows you coming to fight. That's number one. Number two, you might get hurt. Number three, you might get embarrassed if you lose, but you have to do it. And it's no different in football. I have to take on a 300-some pound guard and try to get off him and try to make another play so somebody else can make the play. All for the hope that I get a little bit of get back on third quarter when I'm probably dead tired and I got to make a play. That's what's really hard about spring ball, but it's also a good time to really establish yourself, because if you've done the work in, I don't know, I guess January, February, and a little bit of March, playing football is just what you do. But now the asterisk or the caveat or whatever is dealing with success and however you view it, which can be skewed because your cell phone and social media is your little binky. And then how do you deal with, I guess, adversity? And they go hand in hand. You're the same person. How you deal with it, it really will lead to whether you make it or not. And that's the craziest thing, because everybody's talented. You're not a scrub. You're not a scrub being at Nebraska or any college. So what separates guys is just, dedication and how you handle adversity. I mean, that's really what it comes down. I mean, that's the nuts and bolts of it. It's tough, man.
How much can you train that in spring?
Well, I think they trained it in the winter condition is hard. I mean, it is different because you're not hitting each other. But you're putting them. You're putting them in situations where they got to think. You got to see, okay, how do you bounce back after? Well, first of all, how do you bounce back after 2 or 3 good practices, 2 or 3 good series or whatever, parts of practice? How do you handle that? How do you handle, all of a sudden being say you have a good scrimmage? How do you handle that? Like, say you get interviewed, was it scrimmages on Saturdays? You get interviewed. Well, now people are talking about you all of Saturday, all of Sunday. I don't know if they have practice Monday, and then how you come back Tuesday. So now you done got your back rubbed for 4 days straight. Are you the same? What happened to Saturday? On the flip side, say you play a position, I don't know, I guess, quarterback or whatever, and you're in a competition, obviously, for the second and third spot, and you don't play well or not as good as you wanted in the scrimmage. You got 4 days to sit on that. It's just how you bounce.
How you sit on it's going to tell you a lot about the next practice.
I'm telling you, I always talk about that time I got messed up in Houston. Hey, I would have. It was the worst thing that happened to me, I thought, in the short term, but I think it's what led to my career to take off for those next 3 years or 4 years, because I was playing good. I think I was playing okay to good. I was trying to play too perfect. And then I was too emotionally invested in the game against Buffalo, being stupid, right? And being upset about the business part. Shouldn't have been, and that was my first time, I felt like I dove into Buffalo, got traded, didn't know why. I was more mad that I put my last month deposit down. So I'm being petty.
Because
and the funny thing is, Houston paid me back for it, because that was one of the big things. I was like, what do I do about this, right? So I messed up in that game with inadvertent face mask, but more importantly, the taunting penalty the face mask or the introvert. I didn't even care. I cared about it. I'm like, hey, dude,
It happens.
I had to tackle him or he
Mhm.
scored, I can't help it. He's 5'8". That's my man Travis Henry, anyways. But then after that game, we had a bye week, Austin. So you don't even get to make it back up that week.
On Sunday.
Right. And so you got to sit on that, deal with the local media team. And we weren't winning as much. They looking at you like you crazy. Like you can't, can we trust him? He quiet. Now we see he's a maniac. You know what I'm saying? I always thought he was, they look at, I always thought you had a switch. Now I seen it. Aaron Glenn came up to me. He's like, man, I heard stories about you in Buffalo, but you was on your best behavior. Now I see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? And he just telling me as we just casually walk into practice.
He texted you back yet?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I ain't gonna tell you what he said.
You don't have to. I just wondered.
He brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. But you know what? You're head coach. That's so be it. And then you practice and kind of get it out your system, but you're still thinking about it. At least I did. Still beating yourself at it about it. And then it comes down to some point, like for me, I just said, this is either gonna go one way or another. Bump it. I'm either gonna get better. So then the way that I got my mind off it, like I watched like literally any film I could. I just started working harder and harder and just became laser focused. And I had to get my respect back from my teammates. And, then once from that hit, then they didn't, then you secured yourself. But that's where the spring is about, man. It's not,
and let me
for the
guess,
faint of heart.
That next game was just the culmination, but you didn't earn their respect back only from the game.
Right.
It was the 2 weeks in between.
The 2 weeks in between.
The 14 practices before the spring game. Right. They would have had one.
And the one person.
Oh, no.
The one dude that put his armor, everybody was supportive because they knew the stuff, right? And because we all came from different places, you know what I'm saying? So they kind of knew. And they were, was my man Gary Walker. The same dude that messed up about 4 sacks for me, got me out there in that cover 2 for like 45 seconds. And then there was another game too against.
Well, you know how he did that, right? He had to butter you up so you could do it again.
No, he pre-buttered me up. He's like,
I'm
going to cost you a couple hundred thousand with sacks.
Because I was there for you.
Yeah.
I know you'll take
Don't
this
you
one
remember?
from me.
Yeah. Don't you remember when you were down in the dumps, right? I picked you up out of the gutter. But he told me, he said, look, man, he's like, he put his arm around me. He's like, look, he's like, you ain't spoken a week. We need you, and how you deal with this is going to help, and that was that's, one of the best things about having good teammates. And that's what you have to do here in the spring. There's going to be guys that are trying to earn spots and want it probably so much. And right now, the veterans or the guys that are a little bit higher in the depth chart have to bring them up with them because you're going to need everybody. You can't be so individually focused that you don't forget about the bigger picture. It can't come from coaching. You can't expect Matt Rule to sit up there and babysit 105 guys or 120.
133 right now. That's too much.
Right.
For
any of the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They got to do their job. They got to give you the blueprint, and you got to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't make it work by yourself. You're not going to win, 10 games by one person. We said it last year. In order for Dylan to have a stupid, crazy year, everybody else has to raise their game to a higher level. And then he's going to be along with it. It's got to be the rising
tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way around it. And it's got to be hard.
It's not around it. It's through it.
Yeah. It's got to be tough, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be, you got to, like, football's not a sport that you can kind of, like, dress up. You got to play it. And, and there is a healthy mix between that. But when whether you have pads on, half pads, spiders, or helmets, or whatever, if you want to be a physical team, that's just you. That's just who you are. Just everything you do every day. But you develop that in the spring. You got to see who can handle the heat. Now, through NCAA rules, you can't crank up the heat like we did, and that's fine. I don't care about like we did what we did. So through these rules, whatever they are, you have to be able to try to turn up as high as you can, whether it's periodic or whatever the rules allow you to, because that's how who you can trust during the season. because that's who's going to help you win games. And if you only can, if a guy can only, perform every once in a while, then that's when you're all right. He's had a good game, or he only did this, and that's in any sport, but primarily in football, because you don't play enough games because you physically can't do it. It's not like basketball. Was it 30-some games with Fred?
Yeah, 31 in the regular season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't play 31 football games. You only get to play 12.
Don't tell the NFL that, Jay. They'll probably try.
Hey, they're going to be I bet you in 10 years, they're going to be like 20-some games.
31 games and 21 off weeks.
Yeah.
Have fun.
With the same amount of guys on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but spring is tough, man. It's tough. It should be. Or at least was, it's pretty tough. Mentally more than anything. You think
you're right around the corner from the end of that school year, Jay. You got to stay locked in.
Well, right after spring break, that's the. I don't know. I guess the end of the school year. I guess I don't think that should affect you. This is survival mode right now. Survive in advance. Like it should be all out war out there when you get a chance, right?
With your professors.
Nah.
I don't know if you're talking academics on the field right now, so I just want to make sure.
I wish I was going to school right now. I would be an academic All-American.
Dennis LeBlanc, you hearing this? Jay Foreman wishes he was going to school right now.
I didn't give Dennis. I didn't give Dennis any problems.
Would he agree?
I hope. Yeah, I graduated.
Dennis graduated for you?
No, I graduated.
You graduated?
I graduated.
Jay Foreman graduated? Okay.
But I hated school. I've hated school since the day school started for me.
Preschool through.
Hated it. Hated it.
But you made it.
Yeah.
It's all that matters,
I used to be sitting up there, man. I was like, this could be 15 minutes shorter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Each class. Like, yeah, let's just get to it and let me get out of here so I can go play kickball or something.
You know what the crazy part about that, Jay, is?
What?
Those professors aren't hourly. They're salary, and they're still taking those extra 15.
Man, I hated school, dog. That's probably one of my biggest weakness. Just sitting there, I just remember being in social studies. We're like, man, this is stupid.
I'm social. I don't need to study.
Oh my God. Science was just a complete disaster.
I know physics. I'm a large man. I hit small man. He goes flying.
I'm so old where we barely were starting to get computers. We had to do those type a certain amount of words a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stabbing. I was horrible at that.
Toot.
Yeah. I passed that ACT. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't. I feel like you don't pass or fail an ACT. No, here's what I mean by back then you had to get 17 on the ACT, or I don't care what. Or I didn't even think about it. I heard the SAT was harder. So once I got like 24 on the SAT, I don't know how I got it.
Do you know the
ACT or ACT?
Okay, yeah.
I got one. Once I got that, Austin, I was done dealing.
As you should be.
And
well,
I think
once you get your score, you call it quits. That's the point.
Yeah, but I only had to take it once.
Way to go.
I was eligible. I was
That's what matters.
I was scholarship worthy. You don't understand that.
Jay, I took the ACT 3 times to get the right scholarship.
Congratulations.
And I did.
You are an ultimate test taker.
I was good at tests, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
I don't know how
I got the perfect score on that reading 3 times.
I don't know how I got that good of a score. I kept looking at it. I thought, you know what I mean? Because you got the different sections. I was like, yeah, okay. As long as I saw something past 17, I'm good. I saw that 24. I was like, oh, yeah.
We're chilling.
I walked in that. I think I skipped the first 2 classes the next day.
What you going to tell me? I got that 24.
I called in to Miss Jacobs. I said, yeah. I said, I'll be in that 3rd period. Came pimping in there. Went into my coach's office, laid it on there. He's like, you passed. I was like, yeah. There's a lot of schools are wondering on that. Sorry, Northwestern. That's why Northwestern, they thought I was smart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be smart. You have to be smart enough.
That would have had to been Northwestern. That in this day and time, if I was coming out of my high school with my grades, I was good. I mean, I had a good B+ average. And that had to be in my NIL deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a little less money to make sure I graduate. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Make the numbers work on both ends.
And make sure, and make sure it's transferable too. Hey, because if I go from Northwestern down to like James Madison or something, I want double credit. Yeah, because I'm like, oh, he transferred in. He got 3 years left. He already graduated. I got 2 masters.
Double
and everything.
time.
Yeah, I got 2 masters and everything. Anyways, man, fun times. We're gonna take a quick break. Jay Foreman, Austin. We'll talk a little NCAA coming in that second weekend. Who we expect? Because we obviously got to talk about Dukies and everybody else. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is bringing back Bowl for Kids' Sake. Create a team, raise donations, and join the bowling celebration at Sun Valley Lanes and Games on May 2nd. Every contribution helps to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships for Lincoln's young people. Learn more and register today at bbbsmidlands.org under the Events tab. Big Brothers Big Sisters, igniting the power and promise of Lincoln's youth for over 50 years.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. With a light breeze, we'll see an afternoon high around 66. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and light winds, the low around 40. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies, and it will be breezy, an afternoon high around 70. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Old School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, second segment, Old School. March Madness. There's a lot of madness here when Strick was in here.
Every day.
Yeah, he was on one today, though.
Which is good. We like energy from Strick.
Yeah, he definitely...
energy is good.
Yeah. You got a funny thing. Cool Hand Luke said Bill Laimbeer versus anyone. NBA, back on the fight. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, March Madness is... How's your bracket, Austin?
Adequate. The one I filled out for the ticket, I've said this before, was my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Did that for him. My family bracket, I wasn't first. Had a little bit of a rough round of 32. But I think 2 of my 4 quadrants, 2 of my 4 regions are still perfect. One of them I missed. My only miss in the Houston region, I think. Oh, no, that's a different one. Duke's region is perfect. I think I have Auburn. No, Auburn perfect so far. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm happy enough with it.
Who let you down the most?
I saw it coming, but Iowa State.
But there's injury, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iowa State was by far the most painful loss I've had. Because I had St. John's losing next round. I had Iowa State taking on someone in the Elite Eight. So that's the only one that really hurt me.
Yeah, mine was probably St. John's. I felt like the way that they were playing defense, with the way that they were, coming in offensively, I thought they would have got to the Sweet 16. But then when you think about it, the blessing and the curse is winning your conference tournament. When you go through the grind like that, it kind of sometimes wear you out. But also I think they played an Arkansas team that's getting the second half of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it becomes a little bit of a hard out for a team like St. John's.
And I'm sorry, I just don't buy that formula.
And what formula is that?
Not knowing how to shoot the basketball.
Yeah. Throw it up out the glass and... Yeah, throw it up.
Great. It works for you over the course of 30 games in the regular season. I'm not saying St. John's wasn't a deserving 2 seed. Like, that's a talented team that played some good basketball at times. But that's why I still don't fully trust Michigan State. Like, at some point, you got to put the ball in the basket. If teams limit you to one shot, you're not going to be nearly as successful. And the refs tightened up the game a little bit, which certainly didn't benefit St. John's in the way they played. I'm not saying bias one way or the other. I'm saying they called it differently. And I just don't think that St. John's style, I mean, even Texas A&M last year was the same way.
Yeah.
It can work, but I think there are many more proven, consistent ways to win in March.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Iowa State thing, I think they would put up a better fight if their really good player wasn't hurt. So you kind of just say, Ole Miss is hot right now.
Yeah.
They're playing the best version of Ole Miss. I think the really interesting game, Austin, for me, is Bama BYU.
Mm-hmm.
Because at no point did anybody think BYU was going to be in the Sweet 16 besides you. At the beginning,
I predicted it.
In the beginning of the season?
Well, I thought they'd be interesting.
Viable.
Yeah.
But did you expect them to come out of the Big 12 and not Kansas?
I thought Kansas was bad. I'm on record as saying that.
Okay.
You're talking to the wrong person here, Jay.
But I don't think anybody was like, BYU, that's who I think.
No, I wasn't hitching my wagon to them or anything, but I thought they'd be interesting.
But I think that's the most interesting game in this next round. Just because it used to be obviously the contrast in the players. Now BYU is obviously more into the day and time, but I just wonder how BYU will handle the type of athletes in Bama.
Just like they handled Houston's, which is they will in stretches. This is a fun game, Jay, because they're going to play fast.
Yeah.
It's going to be a track meet. And I said this, I don't remember to who, but games that are played this fast or games that are played so slow are the games where one possession makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right? If you get the Alabama St. Mary's, you figure out who's got the advantage in those little stretches, those spurts, which is why Bama pulled away. They were able to play at their tempo more often. But BYU wants to run the same style Alabama does.
Right.
Alabama wants to play the same style BYU does. Both these teams are tested. Both these teams have legitimate NBA talent on their rosters. I think it's first to 85 or 90, and I think that's going to be a heck of a game to watch.
And I also think is which of the superstars, Saunders or Sears, is going to have that game. I think this is a perfect game for Sears to keep put. I mean, he can get up and down, and he can really break multiple guys down off the dribble. But I think it's going to be a game where he might try to control the pace too. Get a lead, and they're not going to dial it back. By no means.
That's the way to get.
By no means I'm saying they're going Princeton four corners, but I think he has enough experience to in with Oates to kind of not dial it back, but then also pick the spots.
Yeah.
And that's how I think, you can really, not blow the game wide open against BYU, but control the game even if it's a close game.
That's where I think Grant Nelson could be a factor for Alabama if he's healthy. And then the matchup of Cliff Amori versus Keba Keita for BYU. Whichever one of those big men can limit the other team to one shot, because there's going to be a lot of long rebounds.
Yeah.
These teams are going to chuck. They're going to cast. So I think whichever big man can lock down the paint and prevent some of those easy driving kicks that both these offenses thrive on, that's going to go a long way. Yeah, it's going to be tough when you look at them. They essentially are just replica each other, 90 and 80 points both games. And all people always like, oh, well, who did they play and all this. Now, listen, you score 90 and 80 points, you can shoot, you can score. You're not just falling over and throwing the ball up and it's going to. You have a style. I like that game just because of BYU, even though they've been on the uptick. Obviously, we've seen with even with the coach Kevin Young.
And with Mark Pope going to Kentucky. So this is not new, right? This is something that's being built. It's just a contrast, even though they're similar, right? What team has always been taught? It's usually Bama, Auburn, and all the SEC teams have been jockeying for that number one. Now here comes BYU out of the Big 12, which normally is Kansas, which Kansas looked miserable.
Houston the last couple of years, which is kind of crazy too.
But even though it's been Houston the last couple of years, Kansas has always thought, oh, Bill Self, once they get to the tournament, he knows how to. I even said it. I was all right, no go.
Now this year.
And then I think you're right about the Michigan State. If they can get on a run where they can shoot well enough from three, I think that bully ball in mid-range and free throws can pay dividends. But they've got to, team-wise, make enough threes to keep people honest. And that's been their Achilles heel.
And to their credit, they hit the big ones, which is why Michigan State is kind of the nexus point for a couple of these basketball truisms. Because here's the thing, guard play wins in March.
Yeah.
They got 4 of them. Akins, Holloman, Fears, and Richardson.
Yeah.
Each one of those guys can take over and win Michigan State a game like they have all year. But if Michigan State's not going to shoot 33% from three, which is really, I think, the break-even point for them, most teams I'd say 35, 36. But I think Michigan State can get away with 33.
Yeah.
Because they play fast in transition. They get some cheap ones. They're good on the ball. They don't turn the ball over, which goes a long way. But if a team gets hot from three, it's just simple math. Michigan State's going to bite it.
Yeah. And they have an X factor in Carr. If he's a factor, this is a funny thing before we go to break. People always think an X factor is scoring.
No.
That two-hand, I don't know what kind of block that was. You just take it, just throw it out about. Listen, that's how you take control of the game momentum-wise. It's almost like a big hit, and it's a clean hit in football. A big block by that, but he is a guy kind of like we talked about Kyle. He can rim run because of his athletic ability, and if he hits let's say not a three, but a deeper mid range, because he can get downhill, he can offset a run by a 3-point play. So I think Michigan State's 3-pointers are and ones. If they're getting enough of those and the free throws, and then hit timely threes, they're going to be hard out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. Because it's the aura of Tom Izzo. Here he goes. He got my man got 4 days.
January, February,
right?
Izzo.
Probably put the football pads on him like he did that one back in the day. And it's going to be a physical game. And trust me, if the game gets grimy, it's Michigan State all the way. So anyway, we'll take a quick break, come back. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through April 1st is $1 off all pasta, $2 off spaghetti sauce, and special discounts on hamburgers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or also at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Join Jay Foreman, Eric Strickland, and Austin Norman this Thursday, March 27th at the brand new Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane as we celebrate MLB opening day and the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. That's Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. at Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Coppell is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Coppell on select new models. Plus, Coppell has over $10,500 off list on other select new models. Our pre-owned truck lot is full of late model low gyms as well. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. All deals with a roof credit, 0% is standalone.
Back to old school on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Quick segment here before we return over Ticket Weeknights. My man Tom Chattel. Austin,
Jay,
do you think we'll have a surprise Final Four team?
What do you consider a surprise? Anyone not a 1 seed?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Who?
I'll tell you, it's not coming out of the East region.
Yeah, we know that it's Duke or bust with you. That's not even a question.
I got my eyes on the Terps, Jay.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you
I
think
got my
that
eyes
shot
on
can? I think their starting five is tough.
And then they don't have much after that.
Yeah.
How much more do they need? They
Yeah.
got Florida, who's playing really well. And this is the first Sweet 16 Kevin Willard's ever made.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I talked myself into them. I do, but I don't. I'm going to regret it. But Jay, something just eating at me that says, watch out for the Crab Five.
Yeah. I think their starting five is tough. They don't have a lot of depth, but they're
Texas Tech's good too.
Florida got lucky kind of against UConn.
Florida, those were yellow pants, man.
Yeah.
They were completely yellow by the end.
That lets
Except
you know,
for Walter Clayton.
That lets you know they're beatable though.
Oh,
That's where you were. That's what the best thing about those games are. Whereas like Florida has way more depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Maryland sees there's clear answers to the test,
mm-hmm.
and they have a little momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Florida's like, all right, we got a second chance. Okay, well, why aren't we playing like we should? Right?
Yeah.
Right. And then Texas Tech is one of those teams under the radar. Just
Mm-hmm.
just low key like a mug. You know,
Mm-hmm.
same with Ole Miss. Just kind of just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody, getting small interviews, probably not a lot, and then just going to work. Relatively fresh too, and that's also a big part of it.
I think Houston smacks Purdue. I think Purdue's done. I think Auburn is going to round back into form. I think Auburn's good. I'm not taking their struggle too seriously.
They've been consistent too.
And despite my posturing, I do think that what all three teams left outside of Duke do very well is shoot the basketball. One of them gets hot, could be curtains.
Yeah.
But I have a level of trust and confidence in this Duke team that I haven't had in a while.
They play with a good edge. I like it. They got, was it Gillis from Purdue?
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of I want to say, I guess a Duke version of Junkyard Dog, but he has enough experience because he came from Purdue.
He reminds me of Matt Jones from the title team.
Yeah. Yeah, where he does a little
14,
bit,
15.
does a little bit of everything. He's a bigger physical guy. He knows how to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they do a really good job I think they do a better job now, later in the season. And they had to learn this, running certain things through Cooper Flagg and then letting him eat off the ball. And plus, he creates. What we talked about, what do you need? You need just an all well-rounded basketball player. I'm just waiting for my man Isaiah Evans to do his thing.
Jay, he hasn't yet. We're due.
Hey,
so due, man.
Hey, listen, represent East Charlotte to the finest.
North Mech, stand up.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Slim.
I'd never seen anybody like that. Up close and personal, Austin. Listen, he literally beat 5 he sent Sadiq
Bay?
No, he's Sadiq. He's at a prep school. He sent him to prep school. He sent all of them. They all disbanded. The one dude, Muhammad, he's at Notre Dame. The other one's at Boston College. And the one is at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 Division I dudes. Yeah, you can't.
I got me.
Yeah, state championship game. Take this 52 points with you.
He's that guy, Jay.
Yeah, he can fill it up. He there's going to be a game if they get past this weekend where it'll be that 9-point. Remember, he scores 9 points in the one half and all that.
Oh, he got 18 against Auburn in the first half.
Yeah,
that kept
that's
afloat.
what it was. Yeah,
18.
That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's got to be the dude next year.
I
know they got some, but if not, he's going to be in the portal. Austin.
Here's the thing: Isaiah Evans is, if he sticks around, will probably be the leading scorer on Duke's team next year. Cam Boozer's that dude, man.
Really?
Yeah.
He's short.
He's 6'9". Point forward.
That's his dad. Plus his
Nah,
dad. Plus his dad paints his beard.
Yeah, that's too far.
Hey,
That ain't
Austin, Austin,
not about that.
When he puts the shoe polish on his head, he like what's the coach from oh man, I should have said it just the one coach this weekend, man, that he was spraying his hair, man. You shouldn't listen. I got
Oh,
grades.
is it the Liberty guy?
Yeah, I got grades and people be killing me, man. You cannot put the shoe polish in your head.
Not that obviously.
Especially when you sweat and you get a little streak.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll holler at you later this week.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth 93.7.